But first, our top story, the decision of the South Delhi Municipal Corporation to pass a proposal that makes the display of the cooking of non-vegetarian food outdoors completely illegal. Why is this taking place? Is this vegetarian vigilantism?
These mouth-watering sights of chicken drumsticks, kebabs and shawarmas will be soon a thing of the past in South Delhi. The South Delhi Municipal Corporation has proposed that non-vegetarian food items, raw or cooked, can no longer be out on display. They will have to be covered.
TMC Act 397 says that their meat should not be exposed to public view. There is another act which says that food should not be exposed to dust and fly. If you are making a chicken tikka, just put a picture of it.
The proposal also states that such display of meat products hurts the sentiments of vegetarians.
बिल्कुल कवर्ड होना चाहिए एटलीस्ट जो हम इंडिया से हैं हमारी संस्कृति इस चीज़ को अलाउ नहीं करती है
A sentiment that is not shared by meat lovers or shop owners.
अगर आप कहीं से पास कर रहे हैं और आपको दिख रहा है कि अच्छा ये इधर शवारमा मिल रहा है, आप जाके रुक कर खाएंगे और शायद पोस्टर होगा तो आप ध्यान भी नहीं देंगे कि वहाँ पे ये चीज़ मिल भी रही है.
How will I be able to enjoy this meal if I'm not able to look at all these things? I'll not be able to enjoy it.
जो दिखता है वो बिकता है तो ठीक है, अब जैसे एमसीडी का रूल है फॉलो तो करना पड़ेगा.
Indeed, जो दिखता है वही बिकता है, especially with delicacies that form a trademark of the Indian street food. But for now, the proposal will be heard next week, but the shop owners are dispirited. In New Delhi, Snigdha Basu, NDTV.
Well, what is this decision really about? Is this just because of hygiene? Well, joining us now, Shikha Rai, she's the leader of the South Delhi Municipal Corporation. Thanks very much for being with us. Sandeep Singh, the author and founder of Swastik, joins us as well. Sadia Delvi, the food writer and celebrity chef, will be with us momentarily. Rahul Ishwar, the social activist, and Sharmishta Mukherjee of the Congress Party as well. I might also tell you that there is a notable absentee on this program, nobody from the Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party doesn't want to talk about this, which from the first glance seems to be a very curious decision. Shikha Rai, let me come to you first. If your focus is hygiene, then there is a lot of food out there, whether it's vegetarian or non-vegetarian, which is street food. So why are you saying that non-veg food needs to be kept inside?
See, as it is, cooked food should not be open to the sky. That is already there. Now what we have added is the raw non-veg food. Cooked was already there. Cooked food, be it vegetarian, non-vegetarian, it is not allowed. So what we have added is the raw food that is hanged on in the premise anywhere, like in vendors, hawkers, small joints, anywhere. I think everybody know that non-vegetarian food contaminates very quickly. So if we look at the health and hygiene of the people, this is necessary that this food should not be kept in open. And
you made an important point. You're saying that cooked food, whether it's vegetarian or non-vegetarian, cannot be kept outside. So it's not restricted to non-vegetarian food.
Yes, it has to be covered. That's already there.
Yes, and you want to enforce that now.
Needs to be yes, covered. It's only that raw non-vegetarian food, which was used for display, is also not allowed.
Why not?
See, that's what I told you, that
because of a health. And is there any other reason?
What other reason could be there? It's
the other reason is that people might not like the smell of it. People might feel it's nauseous. Some people would say that you're trying to move towards vegetarianism.
No, it is not. So we have not stopped the selling of the non-vegetarian food. See, if a shop is selling non-vegetarian food, it is written well over there that this shop sells meat or whatever. So anybody who is there to buy that would go inside, have a look. It's not that inside the shop it would not be displayed. It is just outside and in public view and open to the sky.
All right, let's just try and get our other panelists in as well. Let me go across to Sandeep Singh, the author and founder of Swastik. Mr. Singh, would you say that this was an unnecessary move at this stage? Was it really necessary? Street food, cooked food, it's part of our culture. Whether it's vegetarian or non-vegetarian, is it practical for anybody to say that, look, now move it all inside?
Okay, see, we keep hearing about pollution in Delhi, and if I take your channel, it shows that in different area what is the pollution level, and it's way beyond the level. So I'm sure if they're talking about raw food not being displayed in open, it's good for the health reason. And as the lady just mentioned that it's the food should be covered for both veg and non-veg. So I don't think any discrimination is being there. And I like to add 3 more lines. I'll give you an example from Bombay. When I leave for my office, we see that there is a shop where there is a skin goat is hanging upside down. The head is cut and kept in a corner for the display. With that is, it's a fresh. Now that's a sight which I don't want to see, and I don't think anybody who eats non-veg also wants to see. So those are the things can well be hidden behind, and that's perfectly fine in that
I think
sense.
this is an aesthetic issue for you.
No, not an aesthetic. As a human being, I don't want to see early morning a skin goat hanging upside down and a head cut beside it.
Other people may not feel that same objection. You see, the reason I ask you that, Mr. Singh, is I'm trying to make a distinction over here between a hygiene issue, I mean, nobody wants to fall sick, and any other reason. A lot of people are not offended by seeing meat. They have a right to live their lives as long as it is a healthy life. So you may not like the sight of meat,
I agree with you on that.
of goats and whatever it is which is strung up. I don't like it either, but I am a non-vegetarian. I have no problem with anybody else. I mean, not their views, but people need to respect other people's views as well. So what is your real concern? Are you pro-vegetarianism over here, Mr. Singh, or are you just worried about health and hygiene?
No. My first preference is health. Anyway, it should be a hygiene concern, and not what people getting offended or not offended by seeing. But since I got a chance, I just wanted to put my view on that also.
Let me go across to Sharmishta Mukherjee of the Congress Party. Sharmishta, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Sharmishta, the point being mentioned by Shikha Rai was that, look, it's not just about non-vegetarian food, it's also about cooked vegetarian food. If it's cooked and it's outside, she says it's unsafe or potentially unsafe, and therefore it needs to be moved in. Is this really an unreasonable, proposal?
Let me say that there is a Food Supply and Food Safety and Standards Authority of India under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which gives very detailed guidelines as to how food should be displayed there in terms of their safety, their hygienic standards should be maintained, and this is definitely the responsibility of the MCDs to ensure that hygiene. But I think if they just completely ban any display of the food, cooked food, they are irrespective of whether it's even if it's done in a hygienic condition, they are just completely stepping over their jurisdiction.
Why are they doing this? Why do you, Sharmishta, why do you say they are doing this?
Secondly, let me tell you that all over the world, in the street food, it's the visual appeal, the aroma of the food. It also adds. It's also part of the attraction of the food. So how can you just take it away? If there is any hygienic condition, whether it's non-vegetarian, whether it's vegetarian, whether it's milk product, whether it's fruits, definitely the MCT is within its jurisdiction to cancel the licenses.
Okay,
but just to put a blanket ban.
That's a fair point. I agree. I see what you're saying. Shikha Rai, ma'am, would you like to reply to that? That you are making an assumption. Your assumption is that if there is food which is cooked and outside, there is a potential for it to get wasted or to get rotten or unhygienic. But that's a blanket ban that you're placing.
See,
what if it is perfectly healthy
first
food?
of all, I would just like to say that Sharmishta ji is saying right now is whatever their people in the house, like we have Congress corporators, yes, we have leader of the opposition there, he didn't object to that at the time when it was being passed. So I think they were agreeing to it, that's why there was no objection to it at all, firstly. And secondly, see, hygiene and health is foremost important. There is nothing like I can foresee. It's not foreseeing. We all know that raw food, particularly non-veg, it carries many diseases if it is left to the open because of the flies and all, which there are many insects which carry. Food. Yes, there may be. But
even this uncooked street food, which is over there, you aren't banning that, are you?
Non-veg food attracts these insects and all. very quickly than any other food. One, it is general this thing to say that. Even I may tell you now, it may look as if I am saying something. Even you see the dogs and all roaming on the road, street dogs, they get attracted to the vendor's side because of the non-vegetarian food. I'm just giving an example that these are the reasons.
Food.
No, that may be. That means
non-vegetarian
food, flesh, meat.
What about street food? What about sweets? What about chaiwalas on the road?
Yes,
and food items around, the samosa wala on the road?
Very true. Everything has to be covered. That is already there. The safety and the standards of the food makes it clear that it has to be covered. It has to be covered.
Okay. You wanted to reply to that, Sharmishta. One of the points that Ms. Rai had to say was that, what you're saying is not reflective of what the Congress said in the State Assembly.
The House.
In the House.
No, let me just tell you that what I have heard in the MCD, there was a major din because some Aam Aadmi Party councillors, they were creating a ruckus and they came out in the well and they were shouting and screaming, and that is the time it seems this resolution was passed and a notice was put forward, but nobody will listen to it. But when the Congress members, they came to know about it, our councillors Abhishek Dutt and Yasmin Kidwai, they strongly opposed it. But of course in the din, and because they have a majority in the House, they just passed it. So if Ms. Shikha Roy is Dr. Shikha Roy is saying that the Congress councillors did not object, she's not aware of the fact that these people, they strongly objected. But either because of the din, they could not genuinely hear it, or even after hearing it, they probably chose to ignore it. But so let me also put it on record that yes, Congress councillors did object to it, and we will raise further objection to it, because we do not believe in this kind of vigilantism. And we have seen, that this government, this party, they try to dictate what people would eat, what people would think, what people would speak, what people would wear.
There is a distinction that is being made over there. Sharmishta, one moment, let me go across to Sadia Delvi.
Every aspect of life, they just want to interfere. So this is also nothing but an extension of the
Okay, Sharmishta, 1 minute, Sharmishta, got your point, I'll come back to you. Sadia Delvi, I must confess, when I began this discussion, to me it seemed to be, an imposition upon us by the BJP, by the South Delhi Municipal Corporation, saying that, look, non-veg food inside, because that is the way we are, that is part of our culture and that is what needs to be imposed. But what Ms. Rai is saying over here is something quite different. She is saying that whether it is vegetarian food or non-vegetarian food, if there is any food out there on the road, please cover it, it needs to be safe. Isn't this practical? Isn't this just sensible? I don't know how she's going to impose it or how she's going to carry it out.
I'm not so sure, Vishnu.
Yep. Go ahead.
On the face value, it does seem to be directed towards meat and towards non-vegetarians, and I think it's a very oppressive ruling. It is stepping upon personal freedoms, and there is a whole street food culture which is very dynamic in Delhi, and all great cities have this food culture. And I also must tell you that I was the first person, I think, in Delhi to bring the kebabs out of Old Delhi when I started Al Kausar on Sardar Patel Marg, and that was the first eatery that sold kebabs out of the old city by-lanes in New Delhi on a roadside eatery. And I'm very proud of that fact that it started an entire trend, and slowly so many kebab joints came up. And barbecues have to be had off the grill, and there is people enjoy heating their hands on the coal, and the fragrance and the smell. I mean, it's about the entire ambience. It's, otherwise you might as well go to some restaurant and order it and get it on a plate, unless you see the live coals and the meat, or even if it's a live a paneer barbecue, then it is there's no fun in it. Half the fun of the food is gone. And I really think it is meant, in all knowing the present government and their ideologies, I have a suspicion this is targeting non-vegetarian people, and pushing a certain way of life.
Would you like to respond to that? Is this targeting? Is this trying to impose a certain lifestyle? Are you making choices for people?
Choices of what?
Is it just restricted to the choice of health, which is your job?
Yes, yes, that is so. Who's stopping anybody to go, and who stopped cooking, you know, the fresh cooking? Nobody.
No, but
the street food that
if the food
Ms.
is
Delhi
healthy outside, if it
Yes.
is hygienically cooked,
Yes.
then why would that need to be put inside?
It's not about the fresh cooking. It's not about this. It is only the displayed pieces that are
Then
there.
it should be under the Hygiene Act. There is a Food Act, and there are licenses to be sought.
Yes,
that should be come under that. Why new rulings?
It requires the basic hygiene conditions to be fulfilled, and in that only this.
So let's just get this absolutely straight. It is okay to cook food outside a restaurant.
Nothing.
However, it is not okay to keep it over there.
See the way it is kept, the raw and the cooked food, be it vegetarian or
So you
non-vegetarian.
cook the food over there, people are potentially attracted to the food, but store it inside is all you're saying.
Yes, for display kind of a
Ma'am,
thing.
why did you suddenly...
Are you going to deprive people of barbecues forever?
No, but Sadia, she's not saying that. See, this is the point. She's saying something different. She's saying you cook the food, whether it is vegetarian or non-vegetarian,
What is she saying?
and then just take it inside. You're not stopped from cooking on the street.
Yes, anybody can enjoy that fresh food.
So the aroma, the fragrance,
yeah, but then, you know,
the
there is
attraction.
entire street food culture. You cannot start, you know, in the small shops cannot put the barbecues inside. They'll be full of smoke and there will be a problem.
Okay.
It's
a practical
I mean,
problem.
How do your small shops actually
Rahul,
start
I know you want to come in. Give me half a
barbecues
second, Rahul
inside,
Ishwar. I'm coming to you
whether
next,
it
I
is
promise. I'm
paneer or
sorry.
whether it is-
But Shikha, go ahead. Yes.
Yes. See, I
It's
don't
really
know if the
ridiculous.
concept is not being understood, I may say so. Because, see, if somebody is selling kebabs and anything, he would have a pictures of it. If anybody says, oh, I didn't know that this shop sells this, they would always have this. And barbecues and all, they're all inside the, you know, the tandoor which is being cooked. It's nothing to, you know, that showing it and hanging it.
No, I'm sorry. The
nothing for
barbecues
that.
are on grills. They're not inside
Obviously,
tandoors.
grill means
Tandoori
on the
chickens
grill.
may be
Nobody
going
has
inside,
stopped
but
that.
otherwise
Ms. Delvi.
barbecues are
Nobody
on
has
live
stopped that.
coals. On smaller
Cooking
grills,
is not
especially
being
smaller-
stopped.
Smaller
It
shops,
is only
smaller
the display.
eateries.
Let me ask
They
you
don't
this.
have
Does the
tandoors.
Aam Aadmi Party agree with you on this?
Even they didn't.
No, they haven't
object to-
opposed, but to the best of your knowledge, because they've chosen not to come,
Yes,
do they agree with you?
I don't
One
know,
of the
but
reasons
why
perhaps
should
why
be?
they chose not
Why
to come
should
is because they
anybody be?
actually agreed with you on
But
something.
why should anybody be? For health and hygiene, if we have to take this kind of step, I don't think anybody
Rahul
should
Ishwar,
object to it.
so this is not, I suspect, what you would have liked this
It's going to
debate to have
deprive
turned
people
out
of jobs.
into.
Supposing
One
they take
sec,
it to
Rahul,
Old Delhi,
I want to
means
go
you'll have
across
no
to Rahul
kebabs on Old
Ishwar.
Delhi. They're only
Rahul,
sold on the
I
street.
would have suspected that you would have wanted this debate to
Ridiculous.
go around a debate on vegetarianism and how having non-veg food outside is something that needs to go. We need to all turn vegetarian. It's healthy and it is the way we are. So are you somewhat disappointed at the fact that there is no restriction on cooking meats outside as long as it is stored inside, as impractical as it may sometimes become?
No, Vishnuji, I would say for the health, hygiene and the sentimental reason in court is what is reported in media. So, of course, everybody will agree with the health and hygiene point. And, of course, there is a sentimental angle to it too, especially regarding the cow meat and other meats. You know, the sensibilities or the cultural sensitivities are more for vegetarianism. That's the reason why even people like Yogi Adityanath ji directly or indirectly stresses on vegetarianism. Even the last cattle bill, whatever it may say or whatever it is articulated, at the end of the day, you know, it was for the protection of the cow. So many a times, you know, with all due respects to all the nationalistic leaders, they have a habit of articulating it in a very indirect way. I know I am absolutely okay with it being a right-leaning person who believes in such kind of things. But I basically believe
No, but Rahul, this debate has nothing to do with protection of the cow. It's just about our right to eat outside and food to be cooked outside and shown outside.
Vishnu, what happens to weddings? What happens to weddings? All the food, non-veg, veg is cooked on the
We'll get an
ground.
answer in a second,
In
Sadia.
all the
Half
big
a second.
parties, in all
Sadia,
the weddings,
that was my next.
all the food is
That was
cooked
my
in
next
parks,
question.
in outside.
That was my next question. Hang on, Sadia. Just give me a moment. Let
And
Rahul
Vishnu,
make his
just one
point.
more thing. Yeah, just one more thing. Whatever is reported from media, I was going through major media outlets. They were all saying they are prohibited for two reasons. One is hygiene and one is sentimental reason. You know, I hope the sentimental reason covers the aspects of cultural sensitivities. If the whole thing is articulated in the hygiene and health paradigm, there is no issue. See, even Jains, even, you know, many sections of Hindu community, they have some kind of slight inhibition towards non-vegetarian food, which is displayed brazenly with the head cut, with the different parts of the body cut, like the earlier person said. So there is a slight kind of cultural issue to it. That doesn't mean we are opposing anybody eating non-vegetarian food, but at the same point of time, some kind of of brazen display has some kind of aversion to the public.
I get your point. I get your point. Ma'am, let me ask you this. 2 points. Sadia wanted to know specifically about weddings.
When you go to a wedding, there is a barbecue.
So she wants to reply. She wants to reply, Sadia. Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
It's the same answer. I said cooking has not been stopped.
What's the display
No,
about it?
cooking has not been stopped. Go ahead. But Sadia, what is your specific point?
I don't drink, but I don't talk about a brazen display of people drinking. And if it hurts my sentiments if people drink, you know. That's very silly. People have a right to drink, and you have a right to go to the party or not. You have a right. If you are so offended, then don't go to gatherings where meat is served. You must inquire, and don't go if it hurts to your sentiments. Don't go to that place. But you know, you cannot take away people's freedoms. What about us?
No, but Sadia, she's not. They've not gone that far.
Industry around.
They say they have not gone that far. And cooks. In a wedding, there is no restriction for the food to be cooked outside.
No, what do you mean gone that far? I want to know if there is a wedding. Will there be allowed a barbecue on the grounds or not?
Obviously, why not?
All weddings are in parks.
So the answer is
anybody who's serving.
She's on
right
record.
In front of mine is
she says yes.
There's
Sadia,
a wedding
she says yes.
Space where food is cooked.
Sadia, I fear a debate
has nothing to do with cooking.
When there is a wedding.
Sadia, I fear a debate has turned out to be a non-debate because she says that you can cook outside.
Okay.
So
what is the issue then?
Well, the issue is the way that this was seen was a freedom of choice, of the fact of what you had raised earlier on, where you said that how can you assume that food cooked outside needs to be stored inside when in fact it can be hygienically shown. And Ms. Wright disagrees with that. She says, why take a chance? So that I think that is all that this is restricted to. But Sharmila,
people are eating. People have been eating.
Okay, but I want Sharmila to look at the larger issue. Sharmishta, I want you to look at the larger. Sharmishta, look at the larger issue over here. Do you suspect that in our national capital region, the BJP is trying to do something more than just look at hygiene? Because we've had the BJP and the Shiv Sena, of course, in very heated arguments on this entire issue in parts of Mumbai. We've had the Malabar Hill experience over there, where a certain community has said that you shut down restaurants. McDonald's was shut down. There are only vegetarian food there. A non-vegetarian restaurant was shut down. Abattoirs were shut down. Is this the beginning of that process in our national capital?
Not at all.
Sharmishta
speaks, let me say, not
give me half a second.
Vishnu,
Sharmishta,
I do fear that BJP
will they
has
all close down? Where will we get our meat from?
Through things. And the issue is that I think SDMC is really stretching itself with the assumption that any food which is displayed outside is unhygienic. How can firstly they come to that assumption and come to that blanket definition that any food which is kept outside, it is only when it's proved to be unhygienic, then they can take an action.
Okay, secondly, we are out of time. One last clarification from you, Ms. Rai.
I would just like to say that, what about, for example, different communities like Bengalis? Our cultural sensitivity, we can't
where does fish come in? Where does fish come in?
So what about our cultural sensitivity?
How can you realistically get...
Vishnu, I can make a point.
One second, everybody. I have 30 seconds on the show. I needed to reply.
What about our
How realistically...
lifestyles also.
How realistically do you expect food to be put inside? Cooked food, it's impossible. Our restaurants are tiny. Our eateries are tiny.
It's not about... I don't know what
street food is part of our culture. It's the way we are.
It's a vendor's this thing, and he's making it, he's cooking it, he can serve. What's the point? What's the issue? I just don't know. What cooked food being has to kept inside? It is nothing like that.
For you to
it is only the raw and the cooked food which is displayed open to the sky. That is all.
And there is nothing but a health reason for this.
Yes, of course.
Okay, we're going to wrap up this debate. It's nothing but a health reason. I don't think Sharmishta accepts that. Sadia certainly doesn't. But
don't believe them.
We'll leave it over there. She's gone on record. And as the head of the South Delhi Municipal Corporation has said that, look, one of the heads of the South Delhi Municipal Corporation has said, look, this is all we are doing. There's nothing cultural over here. So let's just see whether this is truth or it's hype. We'll figure that out. But that's another show that can look at it at some other stage. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us.